Isn't it crazy how hard every single normalizer fell in their face on this issue? Like, whether it be ContraPoints or Ezra Klein or all these people that are like, no, you guys don't understand. Like, he was ferocious. He had a ferocious appetite. Just him, though. All these other billionaires that he was linked up with had nothing to do with the sex trafficking. I promise. It's very interesting because these guys, like, they look at a situation like this, and in their minds, this has to make sense. Like, they cannot live in a world where, like, these billionaires are evil, that the system is designed this way, right? It's crazy to me that, like, the normalizers that say, no, that's all crazy talk. Here's what the reality is. Have to quickly rush to tell you, like, what you can see and what your suspicions are here are actually totally ridiculous. I promise. Just listen to me. Okay, well, how can I listen to you ever again? You know, of course, these guys will never be punished for these bad takes because their job is to deliver takes like this.
We start this episode where I am on the Epstein story. If you force me to give you my best guess, given what we know, I think this guy had a lot of very powerful friends. I think this guy was a predator and on an extraordinary scale. And I think those sides of his life were mostly separate. I don't think there is a list of bold-faced names somewhere. I think I should say, before I start this episode, where I am on the Epstein story. If you force me to give you my best guess, given what...
Ain't nobody was forcing you, big dog. Ain't nobody was forcing you at all. I say this, and I like Ezra a lot more than I like some of these other centrist weirdos. But one must examine the tendency to immediately think, no, this is conspiracy, this is crazy. These guys that are directly tied to people that, you know, finance me and stuff, like, they can't be evil. Because if I'm being as charitable as physically possible here to Ezra Klein, which many of you will get mad at me for doing, I think that's the point. He's like, well, listen, I think personally that these guys that fund the abundist movement, they can't be all that bad. After all, they pay me. And it seems like a big chunk of them are directly affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein, as were many financial elite. So I can't believe personally that these guys are bad. Wait, since when do you like them? I just think that despite the fact that he's wrong all the time in spectacular ways and in ways I talk about all the time, in a weird way, he's like, he's just too polite for me to hate him too much. Because, like, all these other political operatives are so goddamn vicious and so monstrous, not just to me, but just in general, that his like kind liberal shtick works on me. I'll admit it. You know, it doesn't work on anybody else, but it works on me. So I'm telling you why. I know why. That's why I maintain charitability. It's so funny because, like, what's been shocking to me is how Nick Fuentes has reacted to this, I will admit. Because, like, in a way, he's almost exactly like Alex Jones, right? Like, Alex Jones says, like, there's a cabal of libtards that are, like, dominating society and doing crazy sex rituals. Turns out it's real, but Alex Jones can't say anything about it because all of his buddies were doing the sex rituals, right? And the same thing almost goes for Nick Fuentes as well. Like, for Nick Fuentes, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to max out on anti-Semitism, right? Like, Jewish guy who like talks about, you know, Goyim is a horrifying international sex criminal that was clearly working with both the CIA and also Mossad, and was also securing contracts for the state of Israel, right? And what is Nick Fuentes doing? Selling Jeffrey Epstein merch and talking about how the only problem with Jeffrey Epstein is that he's Jewish and not that he was, like, doing blackmail for Israel or sex trafficking minors necessarily, as though if a Jeffrey Epstein was Christian, then he'd be fine. Nick's Nazi friend reacted by trying to get a dunk on you. Hasan Piker spent his entire career running cover for Israel by blaming classism and fascism just for the Epstein files to read from. Jeff worship is Baal to Bibi Netanyahu. Goyim is Jew not bring hot wasp girls and let's scam the world. Usury because Goy are cattle. Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, these guys unironically are like, no, you don't understand. They're organized along the lines of being Jewish and not organized along the lines of, like, promoting Israel's interests. Like, I don't give a fuck about Jews, big dog. I care about fascism. I care about Israel. This is no different than the way that these guys used to do the Kahanas posting, where they would find like a Kahanas guy in, like, the in a crowded room or something in, like, a synagogue, talking about how, like, the Goy are cattle, and then they would post that to be like, this is what all Jews believe. No, they don't. you're talking about a very, very specific person, right? This is, you know, this is not indicative of the entire international Jewish movement. Nick Fuentes is not indicative of the entire Christian movement around the globe, right? Like, how many Christians oppose Nick Fuentes? Now, you might say, well, Hasan, there is a far larger percentage of Jews that don't oppose this kind of ideology, which I think is probably not correct, than there is Christians who oppose Nick Fuentes. I think there's fascists of every background, okay? There's going to be Jewish fascists, there are going to be Christian fascists. I oppose not the Judaism or the Christianity of the fascists. I oppose the fascism. No matter what we find out, nothing will come of this. What's the goddamn point? First of all, if you are not using this as an opportunity to show your friends and family members the truth about these out-of-touch billionaires and millionaires, you are delusional. Because guess what? There are opportunists out there that are using this as an opportunity to propagandize against, like, Jews in general, right? Shifting the attention away from the financial elite and the metric ton of evil crimes that they engage in and the blackmail network that holds everything together. They're just going, oh, they're doing this because they're Jews. So there's people organizing right now to radicalize people in the wrong direction. That's number one. Number two, yes, even if justice is not served in this process, and I don't believe there will be justice served, let's be real, because there's a reason why these guys talk so openly about their sexual deviancies and their illicit activities, their heinous crimes against humanity. And that's because they're billionaires and they know that they are untouchable. And unfortunately, for the time being, they are. But if you want to design a future where they are no longer untouchable, you got to work extra hard. This is how you get people on board, okay? You tell them, don't you feel like it's kind of crazy that all of these, like, rabid anti-communists are all sex traffickers and financial criminals that are constantly talking with one another about, like, ordering new children and other sex trafficked women, adults as well, to abuse, while in the process of also, like, selling, I don't know, Israeli surveillance technology to other countries and shit. Don't you feel like that's a little strange? All these people who, like, hate communists, they all just, like, get off on, I don't know, complete dominance. And also, I mean, seriously, if there's one group that's, like, virtually untouched, unscathed in this, it's like Marxist-Leninists for the most part, okay? Sure, he met with Fidel Castro one time, that's it. I mean, let's be real. That's straight up. Because people will be like, there's no Muslims on the Epstein files. Bitch, of course there's a shit ton of Muslims on the Epstein files. What are you talking about? The UAE is all up and down. UAE is Epstein's major partner beyond Israel. MBS is on there too. I think even the Qataris to a certain degree are involved. There's hella Muslims on the Epstein files, big dog. Everybody's on it. Because Epstein is a representation of American hegemony. Okay? Yes, I said ML specifically because Chomsky is not a Marxist-Leninist. As a matter of fact, he's like the first break-off point for me with Chomsky was his criticisms of Lenin. If you've ever listened to Chomsky speak on Lenin, you already probably feel a certain type of way. I have, at least. Is the stream crashing? Is bro glitching? Wait, what's happening? Am I still glitching? Finkelstein the goated? Epstein and Dershowitz reached out to Finkelstein, but he called them pedos and threatened to strangle them. Wait, no, there's no way this is real. Sworn testimony of Jane Doe 3. What is this? Epstein is a person of integrity who should be given credit for serving. My guess is if Epstein put your daughter at age 15 in such a position, you wouldn't publicly describe him as a friend and a person of integrity. In fact, I would hope that you'd promptly throttle both Epstein and Dershowitz. Sworn testimony of Jane Doe 3. Wait, how do we know this is at Finkelstein? Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz was around Epstein frequently. Dershowitz was so comfortable with the sex that was going on that he would even come out and chat with Epstein while I was giving oral to Epstein. So some people claim Fidel Castro had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein to blame away from the financial elites on the communist leader. That claim collapses under the latest leaked emails, which indicate Castro showing him to be an enemy of sex traffickers. Yeah. Obama White House counsel was helping Epstein on how to answer questions. Eddie Liger is correct. Mr. ACP. He's right on this. The Fidel Castro thing is, like, completely ridiculous. He did not have an extensive relationship, as far as we know, with Jeffrey Epstein. And what we do know is that Jeffrey Epstein actually saw Fidel Castro as a hurdle against his goals in Cuba. Fidel Castro died. Now a lot of possibilities. Fidel Castro died. Now a lot of possibilities for me, Epstein wrote in a 2016 email the same month Castro passed. Also, he was a rabid anti-communist. He celebrated the fall of the USSR. And of course he celebrated the fall of the USSR because there was a lot of sex trafficking of young girls and young boys in the aftermath of the fall of the dissolution of the USSR. And I suspect that these guys also took advantage of that as well. Before the Cuban Revolution, Havana was full of brothels that were frequented by Western financiers. What does not exist in the leaks is evidence of the correspondence or relationship between Castro and Epstein. If it did exist, you can bet the Trump admin would have released it immediately for political purposes. The ruling capitalist elite always want to pin its crimes on communists, but in reality, socialism has historically been the strongest barrier to elite trafficking networks. Just Barack Obama's White House counsel giving Jeffrey Epstein advice on how to answer questions about Donald Trump having sex with a girl at his house, allegedly. I knew Epstein professionally and has always had positive dealings with him. I don't know about his personal legal issues. Other than that, I have read in the public reports and therefore don't have any comment. Trump is likely to be based questions soon about me. In an ideal world, what do you think he would and could say? Supposedly, a girl said that Donald had sex with her at my house when she was underage. She said she had a witness in 1993. Pottinger story 2 weeks ago. McGiver said that Pottinger wanted to meet him. I emailed back, do not meet. You are not involved. Yesterday, what is this? MacGyver? Oh, God, this guy was so stupid, dude. I mean, he could not spell for shit. It is truly mind-boggling how bad he is at all of this. He was just letting the keyboard sing, man. I mean, it is unimaginably frustrating. He was just typing whatever, okay? He did not care about what the output looked like. He was just like, yeah, whatever, close enough. Yesterday, MacGyver sent me, Pottinger worked his way into my office to tell C2 me that very annoyed I called and got his feelings, me the above. Yeah, we already talked about this, but Elon Musk's daughter, Vivian, friend of the show, confirmed the St. Bart's trip. Admittedly, I was first dumb enough to think he actually meant hanging out with young diplomats. Lol, lol, lol. However, after he clarified that he meant to party with young women under age of 25, I still chose to work on rockets and cars. Oh, I'm such a nerd. Rock solid. I honestly believe that Elon was too autistic to understand the signals he was being given and genuinely thought it was a fun party with tennis and snorkeling. Yeah. I just wanted to totally go to a party. Oh, yeah. Comedy is legal, dude. Oh, yeah. Now they're cooking with gas. What is this update on Peter Attia situation? We're hearing here there's a battle royale between Paramount Corporate and CBS News' Barry Weiss. She does not want to cut ties with Attia and sees it as a given. Giving in to the mob. Paramount sees an HR matter and that Attia can't give expert advice. CBS News is expected to cut ties with Peter Attia over Epstein links just days after Barry Weiss announced them. Oh my God, that's the other thing. Because Jeffrey Epstein is so heavily connected to the pro-Israel crowd that, you know, Barry Weiss, being an agent of Israel herself, acting in the capacity of as an agent of Israel, has understandably hired so many Jeffrey Epstein affiliates. Yeah, you blew it again, Barry. God, you can't get anything right. Bovine Barry.
The latest release of Jeffrey Epstein files by the US Department of Justice contains millions of documents, thousands of still photographs, and hundreds of hours of video. Among those videos, an interview believed to have been conducted by Steve Bannon, the American right-wing pundit, former advisor to Donald Trump, with Epstein, part of up to 15 hours of recorded conversations that previously have not been published. There's at least a couple of hours of them in the DOJ files, including this segment in which Epstein discusses being a convicted sex offender.
Is your money dirty money?
If you live,
I just asked a question. Is your money dirty money?
No, it's not. So, in fact,
why is it not dirty money?
Because I earned it.
But you earned it.
I earned it legally.
We went back to this before. You earned
Yes.
it. You earned it advising the worst people in the world, right? That do enormous bad things, and just to make more money.
So, but instead of asking me the question, should you take the money? Because I think it's a legitimate question.
You think it's a legitimate question?
Yes, no
Why?
question. Because I think about, ethics is always a complicated subject, but I can tell you that with the money I gave to help try to eradicate polio in Pakistan and India, instead of asking me,
I thought this was fake. The DOJ only released 2 hours. I thought this was actually fake. They have the Steve Bannon footage.
Let's give some basics or some things I want to do inquiry from the others. Walk me through the Santa Fe Institute.
What the is real and is dumb as
that money should be given to these children for vaccines. I think you might want to ask their mothers who received the vaccine, who know their child now won't get polio, and ask them if Epstein should have helped these people
If we
with their
walked
money.
in, if we walked in, you're a
that a fair
mathematician.
question?
You're a mathematician. If we walked into that clinic where they're giving that money out to these people that are in the most dire straits of poverty and sickness, and told them that the money was coming from a, what are you, class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
Was tier 1's the highest and worst?
No, I'm
The lowest?
I'm the lowest.
You're the
yes.
lowest. Okay, tier 1, you're the lowest. But a criminal.
Bannon can excuse, but he draws a line at communism. Per the Epstein files, Steve Bannon was invited to go out to dinner on Super Bowl Sunday. His response is, "Are you a commie?" I mean, he's just making a joke.
Yes.
That the money came from them. What percentage of people do you estimate? I understand you don't like probabilities. Do you estimate would say?
Why did Steve Bannon interview him? Steve Bannon did this deposition for him for PR purposes. Steve Bannon famously got close to Jeffrey Epstein in an effort to do PR for Jeffrey Epstein when his that is literally the reason why he's actually training him here. He's coaching him to communicate better around the stuff. That's 100% the truth. And then when the heat turned up, Steve Bannon turned around and, oh my God, the Epstein files confirm Melania met Trump through Epstein. Oh my God, that's real too. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's like everything that we have suspected, everything that we've talked about, it's all coming out. Oh my God. Oh my God. Epstein introduced Melania Trump to Donald Trump. Oh my God. Brother, every theory is real. That's crazy. Let's continue.
I don't care. I want the money for my children.
I would say everyone said, I want the money for my children.
Did they know where the money came from?
I think if you told them,
if I told them
the devil,
100%.
the devil
himself.
The devil himself said, I'm going to exchange some dollars for your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have
What is that beeping? Is that happening in the video or is that happening here? Dog is Nick Shirley. Holy shit. He is actually illiterate. What the hell? He is. He's not very intelligent. Oh.
a good mirror.
It's a serious question. Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
The files also appear to contain fresh documents relating to Lord Mandelson, the former ambassador to Washington, sacked by Sir Keir Starmer last November for failing to disclose the extent of his links to the disgraced financier. The documents include what appear to be bank statements in which Epstein made payments to Mandelson or his husband, totaling $75,000 over a 2-year period in 2003 and 2004. In the first statement, a payment appears to have been made to Reynaldo Avila da Silva, that's Lord Mandelson's husband, for $25,000 with Lord Mandelson, Peter Mandelson here, listed with the abbreviation BEN, typically meaning beneficiary in banking terms. In the second statement, Lord Mandelson is listed as the direct recipient of $25,000. As in the third statement, just 4 days later, a second payment of $25,000 direct to Lord Mandelson, $75,000 in total. These statements come a day after it emerged that Epstein loaned Lord Mandelson's husband $10,000 in 2009 to fund his training as an osteopath. And just a few months later, emails in which Lord Mandelson told Epstein he was trying hard to soften government regulation on taxing bankers' bonuses in response to a request from Epstein himself. Also released still photographs of Lord Mandelson wearing only a T-shirt and underpants talking to a woman in a bathrobe whose identity has been concealed. It's not clear when or where the photograph was taken or indeed who took it. A spokesperson for Lord Mandelson said no one can say who or where the photo was taken. Lord Mandelson has absolutely no idea or indeed whether it has any connection.
And just like Alan Dershowitz, Lord Mandelson kept his underpants on. Just as Alan Dershowitz also did throughout the duration of his involvement in the Jeffrey Epstein island.
To Epstein at all. Peter Mandelson questions the authenticity of the supposed bank documents. He cites false attribution of a United States Social Security number, questionable dollar check payments into UK banks, incorrect beneficiary details, and errors in dates and spelling. He told Sky News there are also multiple formatting errors in the documents, and I would like JP Morgan to confirm on the record that they are certain these documents are authentic and that the individual checks are also authentic. Until this fact-checking has been achieved, I maintain my original position, which is that I have no record and no recollection of ever receiving these sums and that these statements are false.
Jeffrey Epstein had a conversation in 2013 with Ehud Barak about Palantir. Palantir signed its first contracts with the Israeli government in 2014 and opened an office in Tel Aviv in 2015. I wonder which country Jeffrey Epstein was working with.
Companies, look out, and even though I know Peter, I've never met Peter Thiel. And everybody says he sort of jumps around and acts sort of strange, like he's on drugs.
Smoking, yeah. He looks the under drugs.
However, he has a company called Palantir, P-A-L-L-E-N-T-R. Palantir is Peter Thiel's company. And look out.
Palantir, P-A-L-A-N-T-I-E-R?
Yes.
I-E-R? Palantir? Palantir? Will we be able to surveil the Palestinians better with this new technology? And did he misspell it? I didn't even pay attention to that. What? Will this help us identify Hamas babies? Palantir? No politic here? Palantir.
I-E-L-L-Y.
T-H-I-E-L.
Yeah. L-L-Y.
No. T-H-I-E-L-L.
What?
Okay.
So he thought that
He goes, okay. Okay, Jeffrey, you are not very good at spelling.
Peter would put you on the board of Palantir. Peter Thiel is one of the best. I've never met him. He's going to come here next week. So I wanted to talk to him after I talked to you.
Okay.
He and Andreessen, it's called Andreessen Horowitz. Andreessen Horowitz, that's what they pay Larry $1 million a year. Just to advise them.
Andreas and?
A-N-D-R-E-E-S-O-N, Andreessen.
That every part of this is wrong. Oh my God. He can't spell anything. Yeah, another one of my ops, Egghead Mark Andreessen. Also, I am beginning to notice that I've collected the worst ops of all time. Elon Musk, Mark Andreessen. Luckily, I don't think Jeff Bezos knows who I am. Inshallah, he will never know. I don't think Peter Thiel knows who I am. I'm actually kind of terrified of Peter Thiel, so I hope he doesn't know who the I am. But I got the worst ops, dude. It is crazy. In 2015, Bannon's least legal residence was found abandoned with massive damage. Oh yeah, I remember that, including a hot tub damaged by acid. Neighbors reported a steady stream of partiers and recording of pornography. I remember that. Oh my God, you think Steve Bannon was doing some Epstein shit and like melted bodies in the hot tub? Or not hot tub, in the bathtub? Oh my God, I totally forgot about that, dude. Until this moment. You're right. Trigger warning. Yeah. Entire jacuzzi bathtub seems to have been covered in acid. Bannon's landlord wrote, I'm out of town. Is there any way you can talk with Diana, sort things out? Damage was estimated to be more than $14,000. Neighbors said Bannon was not living at the home and that Clohesi was the main resident who had a steady stream of disruptive visitors. Clohesi had become involved in an undercover investigation of a jail guard who was suspected of smuggling drugs and contraband into the imprisoned friend of hers. The report details. Washington Post reported a story on Saturday investigating counselor to the president Steve Bannon's legal residence since no one really knows where he lives. But the course of that investigation, they uncovered something that is even more disturbing. A hot tub at the house where Bannon claimed to live looked like it was filled with acid. Bannon's ex-wife, Diane, was the one residing there. Neighbors told the Post they'd never seen Bannon near the house. The theory is that Bannon claimed to live in Florida because the state does not have an income tax, therefore allowing him to avoid paying taxes of his earnings. Yeah, Mark Andreessen and Peter Thiel are both mentioned by Jeffrey Epstein in this email, or in this correspondence with Ehud Barak. Also happened to be, and Elon Musk too. They're all Joe Rogan Experience guests. Have you guys noticed that? The only guy that seemingly is scot-free of any involvement with the Epsteins is Mark Zuckerberg and maybe Jeff Bezos, which is kind of surprising. Is there like an anti-coalition of billionaires? Because Mark Zuckerberg, for all of my anger and resentment towards him, he is an alien, but he's also like a wife guy. Steve Jobs, he died. Well, I guess he could have met him before he died. Oh my God, the bar is so low. So low for billionaires that we're like, well, at least this billionaire didn't meet with an international sex trafficker. Wow. Wow. The standards, man. The standards for being a redeemable billionaire is if you are not tapped in with the elite cabal.
Horowitz.
And Howard.
H-O-R-O. Horowitz.
Horowitz.
Yes.
What they are? It's a lobbyist. What they are doing?
They are the biggest venture capital people in
Jeffrey,
Silicon
you are not very good at doing spelling. Jeffrey, why?
Valley.
What, bigger than Sequoia or Kleiner Perkins?
These are the new Kleiner Perkins. Everybody, these are the smart boys.
Yeah.
The Epstein experience. Joe Rogan podcast, check it out. The Joe Rogan experience. Oh my God, it's so real.